think there's a certain tone of voice that you attain when you become a parent. You can't have a second biscuit and then you sit and watch Netflix and eat the whole packet. If you live your life like that, or you parent like that, or you run your business like that, you're not going to get anywhere. I started off very focused on wanting to be this perfect mother, this 1950s housewife, where I had all the time for my children. You have to do it though. You have to be the parent, you have to be the grown-up. And part of being a parent, one of the most beautiful things that I've learned is I get to parent myself.
One of the beautiful things about the Freedom Architects and the people that we get to talk to is we talk at people at all different stages of their business journey. And today I am joined by the fabulous Susan Webster. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, thank you.
Susan, you've had an amazing roller coaster of an entrepreneurial ride so far, which is what most of us go through. But before we dive into business and what you've been working on and all of that thing, I'd love to hear a little bit about what you were doing before you stepped into the world of entrepreneurship.
I was working in project admin and running large projects at a university, and then I went part-time and had my two children. I had my two children quite close together, so less than 2 years apart. I have two boys. And for anyone that does have two children, particularly two boys, they know it's quite busy.
Yep.
So yeah, we built our house, had the children, and then I was made redundant, and I became the full-on 1950s housewife.
I'm picturing the outfit now.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more. So you mentioned that you had a family business. So what was that sort of in?
So my husband is a land surveyor and he has his own land surveying company.
I should have called you guys last week. I just hired one.
We've got about 15, 16 staff and I've been really supporting his entrepreneurial journey. I found that I was helping other people a lot with their big ideas and helping him really expand the business, not to just be about one core stream of revenue. He's very community minded, so he has a lot of things going on. And I found that I was a bit of his business consultant in the background, really pushing him forward. And then my focus became the house and the kids.
So you had this beautiful opportunity to embrace entrepreneurship and business through what your family was building. What led you? What was that moment, I guess, that you decided, hey, I want to go out and create something on my own?
I think on reflection, it was that I always ended up in quite large projects for other people, helping them achieve their goals. And my husband made a joke one day, oh, you should totally just become like a life coach or set up your own business. You'd be really good at it. And I made a joke, oh, it's bossing people around. He said, no, you see stuff that other people don't see in themselves.
And sometimes it's great to boss people around.
I'm pretty good at it. I think there's a certain tone of voice that you attain when you become a parent.
Yeah.
And I like to think I'm as assertive as you can be without being hostile. So yeah.
Love it. And so the suggestion of coaching is what led you to playing in that space, or?
Yeah, and I think that as a child, my mother was very into tarot cards and horoscopes, and I just perceived it as the woo-woo. And so I really was the antithesis of the woo-woo. I was like, that's not for me. And I moved away from it. But then as I got a bit older, I found that a lot of this stuff that was coming up in terms of breath work, meditation, mindfulness, all these lovely things in the world, a lot of them are rooted in the woo-woo. And so it was about this uncomfortable space of, well, can I have what I want from these things that are woo-woo, but without it feeling not credible? I don't know if that's the right word. But
not aligned, maybe.
Not aligned.
Yeah.
And then I recognized that breath work was something that is with you wherever you go. You don't need anyone else for it. And
you can do a box breath on your own.
It's really powerful. Yeah. And
So did you find that you approached those tools and those strategies as a client before you stepped into learning about them, or were you learning about them so that you could help yourself?
Originally, it was learning about them to help my child.
Okay.
My child, when he was a bit younger, I don't like the word had a short fuse, but he definitely had some big emotions, which as a child, he's perfectly allowed to have. But I was struggling with his big emotions. And so I think I was very much aware of model it and then he'll copy. And so especially during COVID, that's when I had like a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, I did a lot of yoga and exercise in the living room. And my children would be on the exercise mats with the weights and the yoga bands and there would always be an element of the cool down or the warm up, or like which involved the stretch and the breath, and they would get so into it. And then I started doing like it was like some crazy space cosmic yoga with the kids as well, and I started to adapt it as part of our day to build that regulation into our day and give him a tool. But then in researching a lot of things for him, I found stuff for myself.
And what were those things that you found for yourself? Because I mean, we've had these conversations that a lot of the time trying to work with people in that space of parents and children and who do I support in my business and how do I create the impact that I want to create. You know, a lot of the conversations that we have had is how parents spend so much time on their children that rarely do they look to support themselves because they're so focused on their kids and making sure their kids are getting through and are happy and are supported. Yeah. How has that supported you as a parent?
Well, exactly like you're saying, I started off very focused on wanting to be this perfect mother, this 1950s housewife where I had all the time for my children. And so I devoted this time to helping him with his emotional regulation and helping him to build exercise and relaxation into his day. But then I learned the value for myself, and I couldn't control him. You can't control another person. And that was a huge learning for me when I had kids. But what you can do is set the intention and lead by example. And especially living in Australia and being from Scotland, I had the 2 boys and I suddenly became aware that I don't particularly like team sport. And I felt all this pressure being in Melbourne, you know, and like my husband's a member of the MCG and like we're into footy and cricket. I couldn't
think of anything worse than from Melbourne. So yeah.
But like when you're married into like a lot of Australian families, you just get given the sport gene, right? And I was like, oh my God, this is not me. And it was another way to go, oh, I can't do this and it's not going to work. I'm not going to be the best mother for my children. But I learned I didn't have to be a sporty mum. I could be an active mum or an active parent. So things like doing exercise in the living room and yoga and riding a bike and actually looking after myself so that I would put a swimming costume on when we went to water slides. I could be an active parent for my boys, but I didn't have to go and play tennis and be on a women's cricket team. Someone recently tried to sign me up to a women's cricket team. And the way that they tried to get me on board was by telling me that there would be wine at the end.
I'd be in for that.
And I was like, well, I can go to a wine bar and drink wine. I don't need to play women's cricket to drink wine.
Yeah.
So I have ended up in a lot of sporting communities.
Yeah.
And that has been to model that I want my children to be a part of community.
For those women that are listening to this and feel that something's not quite right for them, so they're trying to be the sport mum as an example when they know they're not, what supported you to find that version of yourself that worked for you? Like what would you recommend to people to get started with that?
So one of the biggest things for me is I really want to enjoy my children. And when you parent from fear, you don't enjoy anything. And when you have children, you're responsible for little people's lives. So there's an element of fear that is good because it means you care. And fear is actually a good thing because it means that it keeps you, you can use it for good. But I wish I had known that you can still do it. You can be frightened and be fearful, but you still can do the thing and do it really well and enjoy it. And I think that part of my mantra in life is playfulness. And I think that through playfulness and humor, you can bring levity. And it's through levity that you can really explore the darker things. And I like to go for the jugular. I like to go quite deep. But I like to do it with a bit of compassion and a bit of levity.
Yeah.
And I think that I wish back then I'd known that just because it's hard and because you're scared, it doesn't mean you're not actually doing a good job.
If anything, you're doing a better job because you know you care, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, the fear is, somebody just before I came in the room said to me, it's not fear, it's excitement. And it's a constant daily reminder that you get to choose how you see something. And fear is a good thing, but it is the same sort of feeling in the body as excitement. And it was just before I didn't recognize it. And I used it as a way to worry and procrastinate.
A lot of people say in the parenting kids space, whether counselors, coaches, therapists, that you've always got to start with the parent before you start with the kids. Whereas the parents are generally thinking it's about the kids, it's not about me. Is that something that you would agree with?
Oh, 100%. And I mean, we understand why, because nobody wants to deal with their own stuff. It's much easier to go and fix everybody else.
Yeah.
But I think that when it comes to your children, I don't think that's the case. I think that when it comes to our children, it's that we just physically, we put them first because we love them so much. But it takes a little bit of time to allow yourself and give yourself the permission to step back, look at yourself first and lead as a parent. I think that it's the space that you create that allows you to see what your child needs rather than worrying.
What about working on the person that isn't the parent? So, you know, when we've had conversations recently, you've mentioned a lot about, you know, you love kids, but they're not necessarily who you want to work with, maybe because of what we've just been talking about, where it's got to start with the parent. Is there something in working with the person that was the person before they had kids, or who are you after you have kids? Like, could you talk to that a little bit?
But for example, when you have children and then you go on a mum's night out and all we do is talk about the children. And that's, you know, it's like when you're at university, you're with your peers, so you talk about something that's current. But exactly like you just said, I really rebelled against that feeling of, I don't want to talk about the kids. The kids are my entire focus. I want to talk about Jim. I want to find out who you are before the kids. And it was actually people unwilling to do that. I don't know if it was unwilling. It's more that they feel like they've got to become, like I said, the sporty mom. That they be put on this like new identity of, this is who I have to be now, and they lose track of who they were before.
The other labels, the other identities, yeah.
And that was something that I think I didn't realize was weighing me down more and more and more, because I thought I couldn't be myself. I was trying to put this label of mum on my head. And I really didn't like the label because I was trying to perform at what I thought a good mother was.
So to help people listening, who is Susan aside from a mum?
Well, I like to call her Party Susan. Party Susan's quite fun. I do like to talk about myself in different parts, mainly just because I do think that you wear so many different hats when you're a business owner, but also when you are a parent. And Party Susan likes to break the monotony for people. I like to wake people up, and I like them to ask the actual question that we all want to know, which is, I'm like, can I say it? I'm like, yeah.
Fuck it.
I think that people want to know, are you still in the same bedroom as your husband? I think that they want to know, do you actually like the other people in your social circle? Do you feel like you're learning anything from these people that you're around? Are these people draining you? Are these people helping, are these people you want to go on holiday with? I think that when you spend time predominantly with other parents, because they're your children's friends' parents, they're not actually your friends. It's about you have to make them or become friends. And as we know, it's hard to become or get new friends as you become older, or we have less opportunities to make friends. And so it's those surface level conversations that kill us.
Do you think that's partly what led you to business, is wanting to find that different community, that different circle for yourself?
Oh, 100%. I couldn't take the monotony of the surface level conversations. Hi, how are you?
Meeting
I'm
at soccer
fine.
team, whatever it is.
I would always be the one making jokes and trying to find out what really made the person tick, because I was just bored. But then there was a side of me that was a little bit ashamed that I wasn't enjoying what I perceived as normal conversations. And it's not that I didn't want to have the normal conversation. I just missed that deeper connection and deeper understanding of what was actually going on for the person behind closed doors. And that led to what was going on for me behind closed doors.
Where do you think that comes from? Because, obviously a topic that comes up quite a bit is mum guilt. And having to be a particular mum in front of other mums because of the children or because of the school or because of the expectations, and wanting to maybe create that perfect 1950s mother on the outside. Where does that come from?
Well, I think it depends on your upbringing. For me personally, my mother was 17 when she had my sister. So as a parent myself, I was 38, nearly 39 when I had my first child.
There's still hope for me then.
Right. Well, my stepfather was 65 years old as well when he had my brother. But anyway, that's another story. But I think that when I became a parent, the compassion that I suddenly developed for my own mother, which was to be 17 years old and have a baby, and to be not in a great situation in a relationship and all the things. And then when I got married, my husband's family were the complete opposite. Like, his mother, is just amazing. She knows everything about his life to the detail. And then when I became a parent myself, I didn't know where I fit in that spectrum, because it was such a broad range for me from what I had grown up with compared to what I married into. So then when I had my own children, I really didn't know how to be. So I just looked at what was the extreme of what I perceived a good mother to be. And I tried to do that, but I just completely was bored shitless and was very frustrated. And I developed so much guilt around having my own needs that anytime I did take time for myself, I felt bad about it. And so then you just create a habit of feeling bad. But it was only through things like COVID, where I was stuck in the house. I couldn't go anywhere. And I was like, what do I want my day to look like? And so we had a dance party, and I started to create traditions. I started off with things like traditions. And the tradition became something for my children about what I wanted to give them, which is I want them to remember that they had dance parties with mum. But then it also became about, I want to put music on and have it really loud, because that's what I used to be like. Like, I'm one of those people in the car that I can't hear what's going on outside. It's a bit dangerous probably, because my music's so loud, because I need that sensory. I just want to be immersed in the music. And, it's like one of those Instagram reels where the mum is like bopping away to 50 Cent. And, she's like, you used to do what's it called when you twerk in the club, but now you're twerking to pick up the crumbs off the floor, but music is so powerful at evoking those memories. And it was just really little things like that started to shake me up and go, why can't I be like that?
The connections that you're talking about being a parent between being a business, it's really interesting to compare, because, a Brené Brown video that I'm sure a lot of people have watched, that big TED talk that she spoke about, where it was, our children are born fragile, and it's not about helping them, get to Harvard and become part of the tennis team and win all these gold medals. It's, it's like they are born fragile and imperfect, and we need to celebrate that they're being imperfect, and, that we're there to catch them. But whatever happens on the journey, it's not about coddling them, it's about supporting them to make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's almost the same in business. Like, we almost treat our businesses like babies. Could you talk to that in terms of your business journey so far? How does it relate to your journey as a mum?
It said to me recently that when a baby is born, they don't have to do anything. They just have to be there. You just smell them, and they're just amazing. They don't have to do anything. And when you start from that, like I say to my children, like, they don't have to perform. They don't have to do anything. But it's when we start to add in all the other things, like what everyone else is doing or what their life looks like, or when you start to add in all the other things, it can get a bit overwhelming, particularly when you haven't come from a very traditional family yourself. So I talk about parenting yourself. Yeah. And for whatever reason, if you haven't had a strong parental role model, when you have your own children, a lot of that comes up because you just want to get away as far as possible from the way that you grew up.
So what lessons in that journey have you brought into your business?
Well, the first thing is that you're already doing a great job just by being you. Especially for my business is Susan Webster Coaching. And at first it felt a little bit like, it's quite uncomfortable naming it after myself, but I am my walking brand.
Yeah. And you're the people that people are going to work with, right?
Right. And the brand is me and I am the business. And so I don't have to actually do anything other than just be me. And once I come from that, then I started to go, okay, this is not easy. I don't like the word easy because it's not easy, but it is effortless when you turn up as yourself. So I don't have to ask, what do you think I should do? I get to go, well, what do I want to do?
I love that, because I think so often when we meet people in startup, they want the steps, they want the process, they want the check boxes, the checklist. And as mentors, we can only give so much, because just like a child, a business is so individual.
So individual. And that's the money. That's the key, is that the thing that you probably hide from other people and the thing that you maybe don't like about yourself on some days is the bit of gold.
It's the connection
that people want.
Yeah.
So as we know, I'm a bit of a crier. I'm a very emotionally driven person. Like, I feel everything viscerally. And I used to be so ashamed of that. And now I know that the vulnerability is my strength. And it's the bravery and the honesty in the vulnerability, and then moving through it anyway. And going back to the comment before about fear. Fear means that you're a good, you care, you want to do well.
Yeah.
And you're going to push through anyway. And I do understand that there's an element of, you've got to take care of yourself, and going back to the mum guilt, there is an element of, I don't like the word self-care, because I don't think that the basics in life should be treated as extra. No. If I want to exercise, then that's not necessarily self-care. I get it's self-care on a level, but that's just basic human needs. You need to move your body. And as a woman, I want quite vain. I want to look good, feel good. And if I move my body at the same time and escape the kids for a little bit, then that's a good thing. Yeah. And now I'm not in lockdown. I don't have to exercise. Do you know how many years I did online workouts on my TV?
I can't do it.
I've got so many photos.
My partner is always there with the yoga mat and the stretch ball, and I'm like, no, I've got to be in a gym.
I loved it for years, and it's like everything. I didn't love it every day, but it's one of those things where and this is something I learned along the ways, you've got to parent yourself. You've got to be a grown-up, and it's the same in business. Be a grown-up, do the thing you say you're going to do. You say to your children, oh, you can't have a second biscuit, and then you sit and watch Netflix and eat the whole packet. Yeah. Like, if you live your life like that, or you parent like that, or you run your business like that, you're not going to get anywhere.
Which I think is a beautiful thing I've noticed within our relationship. is that you're very comfortable going, hey, I'm having a moment. I'm having a shit moment.
Only recently.
Yeah.
That's something that, and so just going back to what you were saying about the structure.
Yeah.
So for me, part of the beautiful thing about the number one benefit I've got from Level Up has been the community.
Yeah.
And the different, just the different people, but how people do the same task differently is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
But it also is when someone is talking, you can go, oh, no, I wouldn't do it. So, for example, we were talking, one of the other girls, Meg, we were talking about making spaghetti bolognese. And I was like, isn't it fascinating if you say to one person, let's make spaghetti bolognese, and they're like, oh yeah, we could crush the tomatoes and we can do this, and then the other person's like, I'm just going to buy a jar of Lego, and like, it's the same thing. You get the same result, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It's like the baby analogy. It doesn't matter how you do it. You have to do it though. You have to be the parent. You have to be the grown up. And part of being a parent, one of the most beautiful things that I've learned is I get to parent myself, and I get to, and like I've got all these imaginary friends where I'm like, one's like an auntie, one's like my butler. I've got this whole board of directors.
We won't talk about your Dom ChatGPT, but yeah.
That was one of the best business strategies. Hey,
but it works, right? Yeah.
Like, you're my Dom. Tell me what to do today.
Love it.
I think that I got more done that day.
So what are you working on now? So I know, you've kind of, I mean, we've had chats about, wanting to blow it up and just figure out what's next. What is the next part of business for you? What is the engine starting to look like?
For me at the moment, I love my children, but I don't particularly like children. And I love being a parent, but I don't want to be in the parenting space per se. I found that I was trying to make myself fit in this niche that just wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
And I almost had committed to it, and I was like, I'm going to keep going because this is what I've decided to do. And but then I got to the stage where I was like, no, this isn't fun anymore. And also I legitimately think there's so many amazing people in the parenting space. I want to work with the women or the parents in general that want to enjoy their life whilst having the children and whilst having the career.
Yeah.
And so I've moved more into like an identity reset for people that want to get back to the person they were before they had children and really pull that into their next chapter.
So it really is about that person behind the parent label.
Yes.
Yeah. Finding yourself again.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. What's been challenging on this business journey? What's been one of the biggest challenge?
Tech.
Yeah.
I think that when you are in the community, you can get so inspired by all the possible options and all the things available to you. And part of my journey has been filtering it all out and being imperfect. So I learned I don't need to be fully made up in front of a camera with a light. I can just press record while I'm sitting at my kitchen table and I can just talk about something that happened that morning.
It takes a lot less time than setting up a podcast studio, I can tell you.
I get so much more engagement from that real honest reflections. Like I think one of the most successful posts I had, which was a little bit like yourself with Yoda in the middle of your books, it had nothing to do with what I was working on. It was that I literally had a skateboard, a cricket bat, a bouncy ball and a bowl of cereal on the floor. And I was like, what is going on? And so I think I posted that, and then there was just stuff everywhere and nobody was playing with anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on? Is other people's kitchens or living rooms look like this? And I got so many messages about, oh my God, how many times I've set up a whole table of activities and I'm the only one at the table colouring in.
Yeah.
You know, it was that type of vibe. And
it happened to me, my niece's 4th birthday, and we'd bought her all these amazing, which I had more fun playing with, these little magnetic Legos. Like, who needs the little box anymore? You got magnets that hold them together.
Meanwhile, she's left the room.
Dad and I were there on the floor putting together a castle with like this whole mousetrap thing going on with like the ball and all this stuff. And we turned around and she's off playing with a paddle pop stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing, is that you learn that you don't need more stuff.
Yeah.
And as the parent, you become the keeper of the stuff. So I'm all about getting rid of the stuff.
Yeah.
And that's definitely part of my business, is less is more. And you don't need to outsource and go and get all these things. You need to start with yourself. And working on yourself is the best thing that you can do.
And I think it's probably one of the most exciting things about the era that we're in and starting a business right now is you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be the 1950s housewife. You don't need to put up that, you know, wear that suit or, you know, like present as someone that you're not. Like people don't want to see perfection. They want to see real people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that it's almost like radical honesty. It really shines through, because we're so used to being told what to do and sold to, and people just don't want it anymore. No. And so and I think that's one of the best things that I learned, is that once you learn a few of these things, you're good to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're all about setting people up for success and sending them on their way. You know, the good thing about a lot of coaching is that it's transformative, in that it's in your toolbox and you get to move on and you take it with you. And it just grows from there. It's not, you get to choose each day exactly who you're going to turn up as. And I decided what type of parent I was going to be, and then I do that every day. And then
what's been one of your biggest wins? So when it's come to this business journey that you've been on, what's been the biggest success?
The biggest success, I think, is really having the feedback and the testimonials of, like, that was game changer. That was like just that one. Sometimes it will be one thing that they'll take away and they'll remember it, and it becomes like a mantra. Like, one of the mantras would be change the channel. So when you're having a really, really tricky day, just change the channel. So like, right, we're going out and everybody gets their coats on and we go out, or where, you know, you're on a call and, you know, we're really, it's quite, there's a lot going on the call, and then we're like, right, change the channel, and we get to move through things quite quickly. I like moving fast, and I think that the transformative and the pace of the results people can get from coaching is just, it's epic.
Yeah. I mean, even just talking to somebody else, I think, you know, coaching is beautiful. But even just that opportunity to reach out and chat and have someone on your team is beautiful within itself. So couldn't agree more. When you picture real freedom, what does that actually look like for you now?
I would say agency. Going back to what saying about, you've already got everything you need. It's about recognizing that. And I think that when you own agency in yourself, everything becomes easy and effortless, and the possibilities are endless. So freedom for me is about agency to think and to do as I like, with intention. Really.
Susan, it's been so fantastic having you here.
Thank
you for the chat. Before we wrap up, I've got some rapid fire questions that I like to throw out. So just the first thing that pops into your head about business and entrepreneurship and people taking these steps. What's one belief that's holding most entrepreneurs back?
That they need X, Y, or Z before they can do the thing.
One strategy or tool that you would never go without again?
Write it down. Get it out your head and write it down.
So simple but so effective. One myth about freedom-based business that you wish we would all stop believing?
That it takes a long time. It doesn't take a long time.
As long as you stay true to yourself.
Just do the do.
Do the do. Do the do. And one thing that you would say to the version of you that was just starting out?
Just back yourself and say it anyway. don't hold back. Just say it anyway.
Mm.
Because somebody, it might be one person, but it's like, even today we had a really big experience where everyone in the group was like, oh, that was amazing. And like, oh, I felt this and it was so cool. And I was like, I didn't feel that. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say it. And then I went, no, well, hang on a minute. That didn't work for me. I didn't like it. I just said exactly what was going on. And then all of a sudden it was like a breath. They went, oh, me too. And so sometimes it's good to be the person that essentially just
Speaks
says
up
the
for
thing.
everybody else.
Just fart out loud. Just get it out. Yeah.
Love it. For those that have connected, and maybe for parents that are listening that want to find themselves again, or get in touch with you or follow you, where can they find you?
So the socials like Instagram, so Susan Webster Coaching, Facebook. Send me a DM or find me online. I've got my website up and going.
Awesome. And we'll drop those links somewhere around as well. Thanks, Susan.
Thank
Been great
you.
to have you.
Thanks.